everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. I think take a shot out Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the weekend. It's been a little bit as the Olympics have been going on, Austin, which caused a stoppage in the NHL because they sent their players, which is something we kind of talked about. Would it happen? Because it was the first time since 2006? 12
No,
years.
2014.
2014. Okay, got it. And a lot of that, the reason not to send them has been a lot of because of the games played to fit in the whole 82-game season and injuries, which did happen during this Olympics.
Yeah. Here's another thing, another avenue that while it does create some extra popularity in the AHL, it kind of dies off quickly because we're not in the playoffs. So I think the casual fan will kind of ignore the next. Maybe they watch a little bit of the next couple of weeks, but then it's not playoffs yet, and they may come back for the playoffs. But the NHL does not directly profit from the Olympics. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of owners may not want to do it. I mean, Crosby got hurt during the rounds that led up to the final, and he ended up not being able to play. And the length of his injury, I think, is a little bit to be determined. But Kevin Fiala broke his leg, and he's out for the season. There's a lot of injuries that I saw during this tournament. But, I mean, I really, really enjoyed watching Olympic hockey. I made that point on this channel a lot of times. It's one of my favorite things to watch. I was very happy when the U.S. won. It was a great game. But the NHL, like I said, the owners and their teams do not directly benefit from the Olympics. They actually only really hurt because they're not making any money right now. There's no NHL games happening. Sure, maybe some people buy some Jack Hughes jersey or Connor Hellebuyck jersey or Matt Boldy jerseys because of their performance in the last game. But the teams don't really directly profit from the NHL sending their players to the Olympics. So I think just the players' desire to play in those games is the only thing keeping it. But if there's ever a lot of major injuries, because Crosby I do think is a major injury, but major injury meaning a very highly touted player, a very important player to a playoff team getting injured. But, I mean, at some point, I do think that the NHL is going to have the conversations again about whether or not to send their players. Because not only is the NHL not making any money right now, they're hurting themselves if a player get hurt.
Yes, you make an argument. You make a good argument, and that's what a lot of owners think about is the money. And you can understand from the player's perspective of why they want to go. And I do want to say they had a collective bargaining agreement since 2014.
Yeah, they've had a couple of those. Yeah.
And I think that is where where players negotiate because, like you said, the players don't really have much say right now. I think that is something to where you see a lot of players put that into emphasis on competing for their country. The NHL did do 4 nations. So, yes, it doesn't impact them financially, only negatively impacts them financially right now. But I do think the exposure is good, as well as they can promote the 4 nations, which I think is going to be every 2 years.
Yeah, I don't remember the schedule. I think they do happen every 2 years, though. I think.
Well, yeah, and I could see them doing that because, like, okay, you get to have more. The big thing about the 4 nations last year was you had USA versus Canada last year, and that built up into this, and just kind of that feud between Canada's main sport versus America, kind of a lot of that whole dynamic. So I can see why the NHL injuries, yes, do hurt. Crosby hurts them, and just drawing viewers. But I do think just the more you put hockey and these players on TV, there is going to be some effect, a positive effect of getting someone to watch. They're out of, I don't know how many million we're watching, but maybe if you get 10% of that, that's still a good amount, even 5%. That's a good amount. And you can just still put that in and just slowly build the league, because that is what NHL is a fantastic product. We've always talked about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Even regular season is amazing. It's just getting the viewership from that and getting the fans from that. That is NHL's biggest problem.
Yeah. Those collective bargaining agreements, like you said, are going to be a major pulling factor either way. I think that a lot of players want to play in those games, even if they do risk extra injuries and those extra games they're going to have to play. Because there's a lot of games that you're going to have to play to win a gold, whether you're on Canada or the U.S. And even Slovakia and Finland played the same amount of games as the U.S. and Canada. And then you're going to have to play 82 games regular season and then all the playoff games. I mean, that's over 100 games in a season. So I think that it's going to be every year I'm going to be worried about whether or not it's going to return, because the risk reward ratio for the owners is not there. Now, the collective bargaining agreement will keep it as long as it can. And I know it's an emphasis for the players. I know it's an emphasis for all the fans of all the nations that want to watch their best players play in these games. But I know the owners don't like it.
Yeah, and I think that's where the next collective bargaining agreement, if you're the owners, I think they like the four nations, and you could connect the four nations to the Olympics and go, we will participate in four nations as long as we go to the Olympics, because four nations, you could even move around. You could have it go to different owners or different stadiums. That helps the owners make money. So I think this is, yes, it is difficult, and yes, injuries stink, but I do think there is a benefit just to the exposure it gives the NHL, as well as promoting four nations, which is a new development from the NHL.
Yeah, but the NHL does directly benefit from the four nations because it's basically just its all-star weekend.
Yeah, and that's where I think they can use the Olympics to fuel the viewership for four nations.
I can see that. I just, again, why have the Olympics if you just had what if they just make the four nations every year?
That's fair. I think there's
I think
an
they could
argument
directly
for it.
compete with the Olympics in a way that's detrimental to all parties.
Yeah, I think kind of if you want to do the four nations where you're adding more games, I'm also comfortable if they just get rid of the All-Star game altogether. And during those years, you just give the players a break.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen. I hope it happens every 4 years. I think the Olympics is better than the four nations because obviously it's more than four nations. But I'm interested to see what happens. I think every collective bargaining agreement, it's going to be a major point of contention.
Yes, and I agree. And I like the four nations as a game instead of the All-Star game and an event that you could do every 2 years. And then you still
Well,
the
the Four
Olympics.
Nations is not just a game; it's like 4 games, I think.
Well, it's like 4 games, but it takes place of All-Star weekend, and it's much more enjoyable than an All-Star game.
Oh, sure, I 100% agree.
And that just helps the NHL. But we'll have to see with the Olympics. I am very curious kind of how do the players use the power that they have and gain more of it to compete with the owners that really do have the final say because they make all the money and sign all the checks.
Yep. We'll have to see.
We will have to see, and we'll keep you updated through that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.